They once walked side by side under the studio lights, smiling at each other in front of the camera, pretending to be two people in love. But at some point, all that pretense began to feel real. Their names, Ziyu and Tian Xuning, two rising young stars, two lights that were supposed to shine only on screen, but instead attracted each other and ignited a fire that should not have been there. However, in recent days, the Chinese entertainment world has been rocked by one question that continues to echo in the hearts of fans. Why did Ziyu do that to Tian Xuning? A seemingly simple act, but one that left a subtle, almost invisible wound, yet one that felt so deep. It all started during the promotional session for their latest drama, The Whisper of Autumn. In the interview, Tian Xuning smiled softly, as usual. But beside him, Ziyu looked different. His gaze was cold, his expression stern, and his voice sounded like he was holding something back, as if every word that came out of his mouth had to pass through a storm of emotions. When the host casually asked, "Do you two still communicate often outside of filming?" everyone waited for the usual sweet answer. But what came out of Ziyu's mouth was only a soft, almost trembling sentence. Not as intensely as before. "We are busy with our own lives." And at that moment, Tian Xuning's smile froze, just for a second, but it was enough for thousands of pairs of eyes on the internet to sense that something had broken between them. To others, it might have been just a normal answer. But to those who had followed their story from the beginning, those words sounded like a fine needle piercing the heart. Because in the past, Ziyu and Tian Xuning were known as a screen couple with extraordinary chemistry, not only in their acting, but also in every little gesture. The way Ziyu looked at Xuning during interviews, the way Xuning gazed at him silently when Ziyu laughed. They were like two people who understood each other without needing to speak. But now, it was as if a cold wall had been erected between them. Many fans wondered, was Ziyu angry? Was there a misunderstanding? Or maybe, was this his subtle way of distancing himself from someone who used to mean too much? Several sources in the industry said that their relationship began to change since the end of filming The Whisper of Autumn. There were rumors that Ziyu began to keep his distance, refusing team dinner invitations, and even avoiding direct contact with Tian Xuning. Ironically, however, the change actually began with an act of kindness. According to insiders, Ziyu once secretly protected Xuning from media pressure. When false rumors about Xuning spread, Ziyu was the first to ask him not to read the comments, even deleting his personal social media accounts for a few days. "He's too gentle for a world like this," Ziyu said in an old interview. "I'm afraid he'll get hurt just because of one bad sentence." That sentence made fans believe that Ziyu was always there for Tian Xuning. But apparently, behind that good intention, there was something more complicated: fear, guilt, and maybe even love that he didn't dare to express. A source close to the two of them said that Ziyu started to distance himself not because of hatred, but because of fear. He knew that the feelings that had grown between them had crossed professional boundaries. He was afraid that one more step would plunge them into a whirlwind of gossip and destroy everything: their careers, their reputations, and perhaps even their own hearts. That's why he chose the most painful path: to keep his distance, so that both of them would be safe. But what he didn't realize was that Tian Xuning was actually hurt even more deeply. For her, losing someone who always understood her without having to say a word was the loneliest loss. She never blamed Ziyu, but in every glance of her eyes now, there was something that had changed, a kind of longing that couldn't be suppressed, and a sadness that was too subtle to explain. There was no place more complicated than the Chinese entertainment world. Behind the sweet smiles and sparkling dresses, many hearts were forced to hide. Love like theirs, which grew behind scripts and camera flashes, rarely ended happily. Because every emotion had to be calculated, Every move had to be careful. Ziyu may have only wanted to protect Xuning, but his cold attitude caused everyone to misunderstand him. Now, netizens are divided into two camps: those who think Ziyu is selfish, and those who believe he is holding back feelings that are too deep to express. If he really didn't care, he wouldn't have looked at Xuning that way, wrote one viral comment on Weibo. A few days after the interview, paparazzi captured something surprising. Ziyu was seen standing outside Xuning's studio late at night, without bodyguards, wearing only a black jacket and a mask. He waited for a long time. Finally, Tian Xuning came out, looking tired after practice. They didn't talk much, just stood a few meters apart. But then, Ziyu looked down and said softly, "I'm sorry if I seem distant." No one knows how it ended. But the photos spread quickly, and even though there was no official statement, fans knew something was happening. An unfinished feeling, a story that wasn't quite over. Many people think love is only about being together, when sometimes true love means having the courage to let go. Ziyu seemed to have chosen that path, not because he didn't love her, but because he loved her so much that he was afraid of destroying her. He knew that Xuning's career was on the rise, and even the slightest rumor of romance could cause a storm. But love, like flowing water, cannot be hidden forever. Even though she tries to hold back, every time they are brought together by a new project, every glance from Xuning weakens Ziyu, and that is where the public sees a small glimpse of what they once had. Today, the question, why did Ziyu do that to Tian Xuning, still echoes in the virtual world. But perhaps the answer is not about anger or distance or indifference. Perhaps the answer is simple, because love sometimes chooses different ways to survive. And perhaps behind that seemingly cold silence, Ziyu is struggling with himself, holding back an unspoken longing, protecting someone who once meant everything, even if it means pretending not to care. Because loving someone in silence is sometimes the quietest and most sincere form of sacrifice. Sometimes love isn't always what we imagine it to be. There is love that exists in silence, and there is sacrifice that is painful precisely because it is too sincere. What do you think? Did Ziyu really distance himself because he no longer cared, or because he still loved her? Write your opinion in the comments section, okay? I want to know how you see their relationship. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the emotionally charged love stories of your favorite stars. See you in the next video, where love and reality meet again in one story.